Look in the camera.
Welcome, 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 everyone, to the Women's Empower Network. We have another amazing guest today. Stephanie, welcome.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Well, thank you for being here. And we would love to get to know you a little bit and a little bit about your journey that led you to what you're passionate about today. If you could give us a little background on that.
So, well, I welcome the opportunity to do that. I became a dietitian and exercise physiologist years ago, and it was because, I was that fat kid that everybody made fun of, and I figured out how to lose the weight and keep it off. And so when over the years, I've done many different things, but I retired recently from financial services, actually. I had moved into that for a while. And I saw the need to be able to help women to lose weight and keep it off, just like I did. And then I realized that, the women I was working with were going through menopause and perimenopause, and they were having issues where, okay, I could lose the weight before, but now doing the same things, I can't do that anymore. And I kind of experienced that a little bit myself. And I did experience some hot flashes and some other things that most women experience when they're going through menopause. And so I became a certified menopause coach because I wanted to really hone in on what we could do with our diet to be able to lose those extra pounds and or lose weight, lose weight if you have to lose more weight, either one. And
Right.
the other piece of it was to learn how to exercise. So to teach women how to exercise to maintain their bone strength and to lessen the likelihood of getting osteoporosis, which is such a big issue with women who get older, and also balance, muscle loss, and to maintain their cardiovascular strength. So that's really been my focus over the last period of time.
Well, that's interesting that you say that. I mean, obviously, I have noticed the same things and noticed that what came to mind when you were talking, and I guess this is, personal to me, is that the type of exercise and workout I did when I was younger is not as satisfying or taking care of the issues that I need to address now. They seem to be very different now.
Yes, I found that for myself as well, that because I'm exercise physiologist, I was a gym rat. I was in the gym like every day. And then all of a sudden, things changed. And so I really needed to change up that what I was doing. And so when I changed it to focus more on different kinds of strength training, balance training, working my muscles in different ways, in addition to walking, which is always a great exercise, and hiking, then it really changed the way my body looked, the way my body felt. And so that was a really big thing that I was looking to do for the women that I work with.
Wow, that's interesting. So when you start working with somebody, do you, is there like blood work or things like that that you
No, I
I,
really, that's not really my focus. My focus is what is your symptoms? So a lot of women feel, oh, I'm eating the same diet I felt before and I feel bloated. And I feel like, I'm gaining weight and tried the diets before that I was using and they're not working. So we look into that and see, okay, figuring out what's causing the bloating and work on little, it's not like a major change. So I feel like I'm not putting you on a diet. There are certain things that we look at because the decrease in estrogen can cause inflammation. And so a lot of the bloating could be because of inflammation. So we need to look at that. And women don't eat enough protein. So let's look at how much protein you're eating and the type of protein you're eating. And I look at their diet and I say, okay, let's make small modifications so that you could not totally change your diet, but make tweaks that are going to help you to lose the weight and to feel better. So the first thing we want to do is make you feel better,
Right.
right? And the second thing we want to do is, okay, let's work on, what we need to tweak in your diet to help you lose the weight.
Have you noticed that there's some things that are in common for most of us?
Yes, I see that there are certain foods that we used to eat and now they don't, we feel uncomfortable with them. And so I look at what's on this anti-inflammatory diet that maybe if you eliminated it, it would make you feel better. So we work on those kind of things and definitely looking at the amount and type of protein that you're having because that really will help you because most women don't eat enough protein. And I find that also a lot of carbohydrate, certain ones really increase the bloating. So, we kind of look at that and see what your diet looks like. So the first thing I always do with people is write down, take 3 days and write down what you're eating so that we could see what you're eating on an average day. And then we look at that.
What's so great about having coaches accessible to us today is having somebody who's specialized in whatever your circumstance, and in this case, menopause and perimenopause, and then having somebody to be an accountability partner and somebody who understands what you're going through and can relate. That is huge, which, as you know, wasn't always available to us. There wasn't as much information or knowledge about it.
Yeah, I think that's a great part is like having somebody who understands that because so many times we'll go to the doctor and we'll say, I'm having these symptoms. And the symptoms of menopause, they could be things that when I was really researching and when I was learning, I couldn't believe it, frozen shoulder, arthritis, things that we wouldn't think are part of are part of menopause are symptoms of the change in estrogen in our body and the change in progesterone. It changes everything and the way our body works. And so we need to be able to work with our body and we eat the foods that will support our body, do the exercise that support our body. And someone like me, I could be there to be your champion to say, okay, does this food really, does this food bother you? And maybe we could try something else, or maybe we could change your recipe. And, are you drinking enough water? Let's figure that out. And so that's what I really do with my clients because I want to be their champion. And when you tell me I had a really great week, I didn't have any bloating this week. And so what did you do? How can we continue doing that? Right.
Well,
And sometimes it's, they can do it at home, but let's see when you go out for dinner, what can you do then? Because, we eat differently then. Food's prepared differently. So we work on all of those things.
that's true. And I was thinking too, and probably as a side benefit too, is sleeping better.
Definitely sleep is, and I work with that as well. Like when are you eating? And are you eating too close to dinner time? Are you exercising too close to dinner time? I mean, to bedtime? And, and kind of work with the whole schedule on what you're doing.
Yeah, I've noticed that for myself, that every little thing makes a difference in just observing and watching. Um, it is, but yeah, just to have that support, I think is just huge. And that you don't need to go through it by yourself. And a lot of times don't understand, or when I was younger going through things, and they would say, oh, it's just age related. And it turned out that I was severely anemic at the time. So it had nothing to do with my age or getting older. And I was very fortunate that the doctor personally called me and apologized for blowing me off like that. So um,
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, I was just talking to one of my clients and she was saying that, one of the big things that happens to women is that um, during sexual activity, it could be painful. And she said, it was painful. And so she went to her gynecologist and they said, oh, yeah, just try lubricants. It's normal. And she was like, well, like, I don't want it to be like this. She ended up actually going to a urologist who gave her um, estrogen, that she could use vaginally to help her. And so if you're not getting the answers that you need, there are doctors out there. The Menopause Society has a list of doctors that are they because they don't learn about menopause. They learn this much about menopause, and menopause is this big.
but
It's
you brought
so
up a good
bad.
point, is being able to help point women in the right direction if they do need some more medical assistance. It's huge.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the big things. Like um, as I was learning more about HRT, because yeah, I came up in the time when hormone replacement was a no-no, caused cancer and all that kind of stuff. And now there's a total reverse, and they've learned so much, and things have come a long way, not long enough, and it's so if you're having these symptoms and your doctor tells you that, it's just aging, it's just normal, you need to find a doctor who knows about menopause and can really help you to navigate menopause because you may be somebody who can take HRT and it may change the world for you. In the case, like for me, I needed to be able to do things. And one of the things that really um, are detrimental during menopause is smoking and drinking. Alcohol. Smoking and alcohol are the two things that will, if you really stop doing those things, it could totally change your the night sweats and all those kind of things. I mean, just small things like that.
Wow. Yeah, but those aren't necessarily small things to change overnight.
No, no, but if you could decrease them, smoking's a big thing. It could cause premature perimenopause. But alcohol, if watch how much you're drinking, it could really help with a night sweats. And I would, I would maybe challenge, I don't know if that's the right word, if you are having symptoms, to just keep a journal of when you have them. I tell this with my people with food. Okay. If you're eating a meal and there's something that you're having some symptoms, this causes bloating, this causes heartburn, this causes this. Well, okay, let's look at that and see what is the food, when does it happen, what are you doing, and then we could see, okay, how can we change this? How can we adjust this to make it so that you're not having those symptoms?
Yeah, I remember when I was going through that discovery phase on my own, that if I ate a piece of milk chocolate, I would instantly have a hot flash. But then I discovered if I ate dark chocolate, it didn't affect me that way.
Right? Hmm.
So now
Yeah.
it's just one, so I didn't have to give up chocolate. I just had to give up what type of chocolate I ate. And
Right. And
yeah,
that's awesome that you figured that out. Sometimes when we have something raw, so I have a client who all of a sudden she couldn't eat apples. I find apples is a big thing for a bunch of my clients. All of a sudden apples gave them indigestion. So I said sometimes when you cook it, So now she makes like a baked apple. So she has 7 kids, and so um, she usually has to make a couple because the kids steal them. But when she heats it up, she eats it. She has no symptoms. So it could be something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be simple, small things. So it doesn't have to be daunting or overwhelming or because, I know I remember watching women go through it when I was younger and some of them, their symptoms were extreme and not even just the physical ones, but the
Right.
emotional ones too, um, that you go through that somebody who normally wasn't anxious, I noticed they would be extremely anxious, um, and different things. But I know that there's, through diet and everything that helps and probably you have experience with people talk about brain fog. I remember people talking about that. I remember having some of that where I couldn't remember a word and it would make me crazy. Like, I know the word. It's just not coming to me.
Yeah, I remember going through that as well. My husband's like, well, you're going through, we were taking care of my mom and she was having dementia. He was saying, are you having like early dementia or something? And it did pass. But I exercise, drinking, and really just taking care of yourself. It's a time in our life, menopause, when we need to take care of us.
Yeah,
That's the biggest thing is that we need to take care of us. We've taken care of everybody else, and now this is our time. We have to take care of us so that because we're going to live, I mean, for hopefully 30 years after menopause, maybe even more. And so we need to make sure that we keep our body strong, that we have the proper nutrition for our body, that we decrease our stress, and we just enjoy those rest of our days. So, my tagline is menopause is a time to think about ourselves and just flourish.
that's beautiful. So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, how can they do that? And do you offer like free consultations?
Yep, I a free consultation, and you can either contact me, message me on Facebook or LinkedIn under my name, Stephanie Ethe, and we could set up a time to talk. And I do have some giveaway information on diet and exercise. If anybody is interested, and if you want to lose those 3 to 8 pounds or so. Um, and I'd be willing to give that to anybody who's interested. So you can always DM me.
Well, we'll be sure to put your contact information above this interview so people can easily get in touch with you. And I wish there were more of you, or that I knew. I know they're there, but I haven't met very many yet. Because I know there's a very um, big change in a woman's life, and I know it can be scary, like you said. Where we had fog brain, but it goes away, or
Mhm.
it's these conditions that you're in aren't forever, that they can improve and they can go away. And to have somebody to work with is just, it's such a gift. I mean, don't suffer alone.
Yeah. Definitely
Reach
don't
out.
suffer alone and ask those questions. And if you can't find the answers, you could reach out. I could help you find somebody if you're really looking for a physician. There's places to look, and I could give information for anybody who's interested in learning more or finding out what's going on with them.
That
So those are
exactly. Well, that's amazing. Well, before we go today, are there any more parting words of wisdom that you would like to share with us today?
Yeah, for sure. That I really would my on my mind is to build a community of women to be able to talk to each other about what's going on in their life. And so if you reach out, I'd love to start that community with anybody who would like, and I will be there to give information in the community and we could talk and have a conversation.
Ooh, I like that a lot. It's creating that sisterhood of like-minded people, especially if you're going through something similar, so that people understand more.
Right? I mean, we're all going to go through menopause at some point, and let's make it so that we go through on a high note and we're there to support each other.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Stephanie.
So I so appreciate. Thank you.